Good Friday evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Axanar Confidential, number 45. I am Alec Peters, your host, and tonight I am pleased to have with me Nathan Blackwell. Nathan, welcome. It's been a year. You were on one of the early episodes of Real Trek where we had significant technological problems, and look, we actually pulled this one off.
It's great. Thanks for having me. Thanks for
No,
having me
it's
back.
great. Now, I mentioned you on one of the other streams because we stream all the time now, just real casual stuff. Friday night Axanar Confidential. Everyone knows 9 o'clock, but I get on at all times. Like last week, we had a 7-hour live stream. I was just working, and I just said, "Oh, let me just turn it on." And 7 hours later, we're like, "Oh, we're still here." So it's great, but to have I mentioned Voyage Trekkers and people are, huh? What? I was like, Voyage Trekkers, you don't know Voyage Trekkers? So this episode's all about Voyage Trekkers. We got news to tell people about, and we're going to show your very first early episode.
Right, warts and all.
Yeah, don't worry. It's great. Now, somewhere you had it years ago, before I ever met you. Yeah, I saw something. It was one of your trailers or something, and it was something to the effect of like, there's 5,000 ships in the Starfleet. This is the worst one, or something to that effect. I was like, okay, that's funny. And basically, as I've been telling people, I was like, you like Galaxy Quest? You'll love Voyage Trekkers. It's that simple. How do you pitch it?
Yeah, so that's pretty close to how we've been pitching it. This is all if you watch our web series, it seems very Orville, but this is about 6-7 years before the Orville. But the pitch is basically the same. It's the worst starship crew in the galaxy, and so the whole concept is that it's kind of like like if Galaxy Quest is effectively like offspring of Star Trek, we're kind of the same thing. To where we've got our own kind of fictitious universe. We've got the Galactic Union, with a very comical version of kind of the Star Trek concept. But basically, this is the ship. Like if you get sent off to Siberia or Alaska, this is that equivalent. The starship that they're on is called the Remarkable. And it's basically this 80-year-old starship that's falling apart that they just dump everyone that they can't like imprison or like legally kill. Like everyone who's in the galactic, who's actually in their Starfleet, gets sent to this ship. And there's basically no way to get off the ship unless you die or something like that. Because no one really ever gets promoted off of it. So, but yeah, it's the worst starship crew in the galaxy.
And by the way, not only do I love your starship design, the Remarkable.
Thank you.
It's just classic, and it just looks like classic retro sci-fi, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We wanted to kind of go for something that was both like a mix of almost like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy meets Starfleet. And it was funny, like in the actual in the actual talks about the design of the ship, I was talking with our visual effects supervisor, David Stipes, and I was talking to him about the reference of like the last episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, to where like Beverly Crusher has like the starship that's got this round top, the round front, and then the back, and then David Stipes goes like,
Pasteur.
"Oh yeah,
I think that's the Pasteur."
Yeah. I've got a cat behind me. But our visual effects supervisor says, "Oh yeah, I shot that."
Really?
For the episode. Yeah, so he was our our visual effects supervisor, David Stipes. He used to work on Star Trek: The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine.
Wow.
But yeah, it was great because I just got to ask him these questions about, what were your favorite ships to shoot? What were some of your experiences? Like for example, like the Gem Hadar ship, they always called it the Lead Hadar because it was just like 10 times heavier than all the other models. Like the person who built the model actually built it like out of pieces of metal.
Oh my god.
Um, so it took like 4 people to move it.
Oh god, that's hysterical. Excuse me as I hydrate. I've got 3 bottles of sparkling water. I've got to finish all of them before the end of tonight. Plus, as everyone knows, plus we have my favorite cinnamon whiskey, Fire on the Mountain, which we have a drinking game now because I yawn all the time. So every time I yawn, I have to take a sip of cinnamon whiskey.
Let's see. What do I have?
Yeah, feel free to drink with me. Although we'll see how bad it is tonight. And I know Trey is still doing his live. Trey is Axanar Comics, and I know he's doing a live stream. And he said, "Oh, I'm gonna go over." I'm like, "Dude, don't go over." It's bad enough. I'm so bad about starting this live stream on time as it is. It's like the last thing I want to do is start late again. Let's just see how he's doing. Let's see if he's done yet before we really get into the meat of things.
Gotcha.
Hold on one second. He's got one of the fan filmmakers on. I can tell because it's a fan film because the costumes are red. No. I want to be the costume designer for all Star Trek fan films from now on. I'll make you guys look great.
We're putting it up there.
Okay, so give us the history. When did you start with this?
Whew, yeah, it's let's see if I could remember. I want to say 2011 is when we did season 1 of Voyage Trekkers, and then the whole concept. Honestly, so I was developing these other projects. So I do like corporate video and I do commercials, but I'm always trying to do my own short films and weird stuff. Our production company is called Squishy Studios, and so it's a lot of the stuff kind of in the same vein as Voyage Trekkers, but Voyage Trekkers is definitely our biggest project. Yeah, I just wanted to shoot something fun, and so the sell to the because I had already kind of like got everyone else involved in these other projects, and so I was selling them that it was just going to be one weekend. Just going to be one weekend of fun, and we were going to try to just shoot like 2 or 3 episodes a day. Like they were very like if you notice in season 1, it's very episodic. There's not like a continual storyline. It's almost kind of like the original series of Star Trek, like you can kind of put them out of order a bit. But they were just designed to be very short and simple and to kind of be one gag. And so we did over one weekend, we shot 6 episodes. And so yeah, which is nuts, but they're about like 2-3 minutes each, and they were designed to be very short and simple. But we had so much fun doing that we decided to kind of round out the whole season into 10 episodes, and then each of them got progressively more ambitious to where we did 1 episode per day, and it was larger sets and costumes and things like that. And so when we really basically just did season 1 just because we wanted to make something fun, and I had been chomping at the bit to do sci-fi. Like I love genre, but particularly sci-fi, but I hadn't really done something that I could like really sink my teeth into and kind of do my comedic version, my love letter to Star Trek and Star Wars. There's even some Flash Gordon kind of thrown in there. But kind of looking at all of season 1, we kind of like, we definitely want to do more, but let's up our game. Let's actually build like a bridge set. Let's actually do more of a connective storyline. And so for season 2, the whole, which I think came out in 2013. I could be wrong. 2015. I'm bad with these. I have to look it up on IMDb. But with season 2, which is also 10 episodes, we really wanted to kind of have a little more production value, but a little less skit oriented. There were a little more short films, and so you had more of a beginning and a middle and an end. There was more character and more kind of progression of the characters. But yeah, it's doing, I'm sure like doing fan films or doing just web series and things like that. It's tough. it's really tough when I mean, because even if you try to monetize them, like we're not technically a fan film because we made up our own universe where we've got homages to stuff. But we can't, but even then, like, it's really hard to make any kind of money. So you're just doing it for the passion. You're doing it for fun. So, oh, I can't hear you anymore. I think we missed your.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
There we go.
So what do you do full time? Well, I mean, what is your full time job?
So I am a freelance director and editor, and so usually the stuff that I direct, I'll end up editing, and I usually end up editing more because you shoot for one day and then you're editing for like 3 days.
Right.
But it being a freelancer, it really kind of goes into weird 6, 9 month, 18 month kind of cycles to where I'm doing like a lot of like reenactments and like health department stuff, or then suddenly now I'm doing like real estate and like credit unions, and later this month I'm doing some commercials for Blimpie.
Oh wow. Okay.
But yeah, I guess if I had kind of like a specialty, it's doing kind of comedy. The problem is that comedy isn't asked for that enough, for at least here in Arizona. Like if I was in LA, there's a lot more commercials and branded work there. But being in Phoenix, usually most of the stuff I do is not comedy. It's just kind of very straight corporate stuff. So
Gotcha. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Phoenix,
Oh,
so
you're born and raised.
yep. Too
So
dumb to leave.
tell us about your Star Trek fandom.
So one of my first movie memories is Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. And so I remember being in the theater, and I must have been, I don't know how old I was. I was probably like 6 or something.
What year was
And
that? That was
80,
82?
was that 82? Yeah, I
80,
think it was 82.
82.
Well, they'll let us know either way.
Hey, everyone, look it up on IMDb, or I'll look it up on IMDb.
So geez, I just did a podcast on Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. So
Did you really? Who with?
So I co-host an '80s movie podcast called The Most Excellent '80s Movie Podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
And so we cover a lot of movies that we kind of grew up with as
82.
kids. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like 6 years old, and it's just like, oh my, yeah, it's like, wow, that's a movie. I just remember kind of sitting there during
You were
the
6 years
trailer.
old. Yeah.
Just sitting there during the credits and just oh my god, that was an experience.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I just yawned, so I got a drink. All right, before someone tells me.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
this is such good stuff. If I was going to be an alcoholic, I'd be an alcoholic on a Fire in the Mountain Cinnamon Whiskey.
Right, and we've got witnesses. So yeah, really, my entry into Star Trek was the movies. It was Star Trek 2, and up really, and then really Next Generation. Even as a kid, I found it difficult to get into the original series. It was just a little.
I can see
it was. It's interesting because there's Star Trek continually develops and changes itself. Like the movies are very different than the original series. Just by the nature they're adventure movies. And the original series have a lot more to do with just like the first seasons of Next Generation about morality and the place of humanity in space. But yeah, so for me, if I had to pick like one Star Trek horse to ride, it would be Next Generation. So.
Well, it makes sense because you tend to follow you prefer the Star Trek from when you were growing up. I mean, I grew up in the '60s, so it was the original series, but
yeah.
But I'm a big fan of DS9. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I love that one too.
Hold on, I'm listening for puppy sounds. I think we're good. They we rescued 3 weeks ago. We rescued a mama dog and 13 puppies. So but in between my daily live stream, the pre-show, and this, I went down. We fed them. We took care of them, and hopefully they're all asleep by now.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so what we're gonna do now, because Trey's stream stopped and those people are coming over now, so we're gonna play the first episode of Voyage Trekkers. Which, listen, relax, everyone. Nathan keeps trying to lower expectations. It's the first episode. We expect it to be a little rough. Don't worry. All right. So, you want to give us a lead in here?
Yeah. So again, the first season was very skit based, and they're meant to be very short.
Okay.
Dogs.
Sorry. Yeah, I heard some noise downstairs. Hey, wait a second. I'm going to run down. This is great because I got you here.
Okay, great.
Talk to the fans. You're on. I'm going to run it
down
and check that. Make sure nothing is falling.
Okay, roger that. Hello, fans. It's Nathan again. No, so the like I said before, season 1 is very skit based, and so we shot the 3 episodes in one day. And so, I guess when new people approach me about Voyage Trekkers, I get, I guess, a little protective over season 1 because we didn't have like a big master plan. We were just doing them for fun. And so usually I direct them towards season 2 because, the character is a little more in place. The production value is a little better. There's a little more of a storyline. And then I say, then you can go back to season 1 and kind of almost treat it like the backstory. But I don't know. I think like any filmmaker is both their biggest fan and their worst enemy when it comes to their own work. The critical eye that you make your movies with. It makes your life miserable when you try to rewatch your own stuff. And so that critical eye is important when you're trying to make, interesting work that hopefully improves. But when you go back and look at some of your old stuff, it really you can't turn that eye off. You just look at where all the mistakes you made and where the catering table was and what so and so said on that day and the one usable take that you had to settle with. And so. Yeah, that's filmmaking, I guess. So all right, so we're extending for time, waiting for Alec. Voyage Trekkers. So I'm the co-creator. My other co-creator is Craig Curtis, who in season 1 and season 2 plays General King, but he's also in season 2. He's Info the robot. He's the guy who's in the giant clunky robot outfit. So we co-created it. We wrote the episodes together, and then really, these are we had some crowdfunding, but these are pretty darn low budget, and so I guess the one good thing that we've got going for us is that a lot of us do like commercial and filmmaking, and so. But season 1, like full disclosure, like season 1 is like $3,000 the whole thing because no one got paid. Everyone was just doing it for fun. And then the cool thing about that was, as we released season 1, more people got to see it. And so even though we had very limited resources, we didn't rent any equipment. We just begged, borrowed, and stole. And then we were just shooting with a 7D Canon DSLR. With even on season 2, which a little more of a budget, it was about $6,000 to $10,000 for the whole 10-episode season, and it's about an hour long. It was still just all volunteers and all to be a part of it.
Sorry to be rude there.
It's okay. I was running out of things to say.
So, everyone knows that 3 weeks ago, we rescued a mama dog and 13 at the time. They were about 10-day-old puppies. So we're fostering them right now. We have a rescue that's taking them. We're fostering them. So what just happened then, because I heard a big noise, is today we separated the one big pen that the mama dog could get into, and we separated into 2 pens that the mom can't get into because she's not nursing. She gave up nursing on Monday. And hey Trey, welcome. I see Trey from Axanar Comics is here. So anyway, Mama can't get into the pens, and the only reason she needs to get into the pens now, because she has no interest in nursing the puppies anymore, is to clean up their poop, right? Because this is an instinct from the wild. Mama dog will always clean up the poop, so there's not poop around, so it doesn't attract other animals. So that noise was one of the puppies was pooping, and she was trying to get in there, and she can't. So she was a little frantic. And she knows when we're there, we clean it up. When we're kind of... Anyway, there you go, fine. So my apologies. I'm like leaving you all alone at the mercy of my fans on the Axa family. Hopefully they were gentle with you.
We'll find out.
Let me just real quick, and we're just going to read back a little. See whatever. See, okay. Val's here. Eccleston Angel. That's Val. You see, I assume do you have a window open looking at the comments?
No.
You
can pop one up.
Why you open up a YouTube window? Go to our channel. Go to our.
There we go. I was just worried about my connection.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then you'll see all the comments from everyone. Just real quickly.
There we go.
Voyage Trekkers is great from the beginning. Herb Bluntman says it's an awesome spoof. Don't beat yourself up, Nathan. There you go.
Thank you.
Doug says, I am on Puppy Troll. I was. All right. So, yeah, we have the nice thing is we have fans all over.
That's great. Yeah, one of the things I was really... When we did our season 2 Indiegogo for basically trying to build a bridge set, I was just surprised on people like literally over the world. It's like with season 1, we had kind of a small little Kickstarter thing, but it was just mainly friends and family. But by the time we were doing season 2, we had it wasn't just like we had 4 people from Germany who knew each other. They were from different parts of Germany, and that kind of blew my mind, because that was the first time that I had kind of made something that had kind of gone well outside of not only like Arizona, but like out of the country in terms of like an audience connection. So that was exciting.
Oh, awesome. All right.
Yeah, and apparently we're big in Poland because we had all these Polish views. Yeah, we'll take it. Thank you, guys.
Here we go. This is going to be episode 1 of Voyage Trekkers. How long is this episode?
Oh, it's probably just 3 minutes.
Oh, it's short.
So, okay. Yeah, they're super short.
All right, here we go.
Face me, Captain to Captain, you alien scum.
Very well, Sunstrike. If you are in such a rush to meet your death, I will be happy to oblige you. Now you will witness the full power of the Dronis Empire.
Enough of these games. Let's settle this with courage and honor. Just you and me.
Why are you looking at me? He's the captain.
You people all look alike. How am I supposed to know who's who?
What did you just say?
I'll take the Dronis captain. You get the other one.
The Dronis captain? Is it wrong that I can't tell them apart?
Listen, Scaly, I don't care who's in charge here.
Oh my god. Did you just say Scaly?
Oh, why does everything have to be an issue with you people?
Where's your gun?
Well, no one else has to carry the scanner and the medical probe, but with the gun it just makes me look too bulky.
I'm setting my ray gun to maximum charge. I'll open up with a warning shot so loud, It'll scare them all into surrendering. Don't move, unless you want to be disintegrated into a billion particles.
Attention, weapon is out of ammunition. Please recharge at your convenience.
Okay, so now everyone, you lizard
You
men,
are now out of ammunition.
throw down your weapons.
This device
throw
is
down
no
your weapons
longer
right now.
effective
Just,
as a weapon.
just on the ground.
Attention,
I don't want it to kill you all. Just everyone go in a
Please
single
recharge
file
at your
line.
convenience.
Just put them down on the ground.
If you
just
need
put
help
the weapons
finding
down,
the
and then,
nearest
we'll
recharging
peaceably
station,
surrender
speak the word
the-
help.
All right. That's not so bad. Jeez. It's it's well written. I mean, it's
thank you.
It's funny. Yeah. Yeah, that's some funny stuff. So, here's the thing, folks. We are going to be there, and how many episodes? There's 10 episodes in each season?
Yes. So, and then also the season one finale is actually a choose your own adventure, and so you can actually it's got 4 different endings.
Wow. Okay. That's cool. So we are going to be releasing the entire first season of Voyage Trekkers on the Axanar YouTube channel next week. We're doing a live watch party to kick it off that Trey and I are hosting. We're pretty excited. It should be a lot of fun. And what we want to do is get you a lot more exposure. Now, is there, and then we'll talk about season 2. We'll get that out as well. But is there ever going to be any more Voyage Trekkers, or are you done with it?
I hope so. But it's also we've done 2 seasons, and then after we did the 2 seasons, we actually did 10 full anti-smoking PSAs for the Department of Health.
Really?
That all star the Voyage Trekkers crew, and it's ridiculous because they let us run with it. So they're full on the characters from the show. You know how in the G.I. Joe TV show, at the end they would have a PSA kids stop screwing around with power wires or whatever like that. It's kind of it's basically a parody of that. And so
I gotta go.
Oh. So yeah, we did 10 episodes of these anti-smoking PSAs, and it was the first time we actually got paid to do Voyage Trekkers, and so that was exciting. But yeah, the most recent thing we did was last year we did a full-on half-hour episode of Voyage Trekkers, which it basically runs like a TV show. So basically, we've been doing Voyage Trekkers since 2011, and while I would love to keep doing more Voyage Trekkers, it's tough. It's tough when you've got to self-motivate and you've got to pay for it yourself. And there's also a part of me that also wants to do other projects as well. But if any opportunity I can, I will return to Voyage Trekkers. I love it. I love the characters and the world. And it's definitely just my comedic love letter to sci-fi.
My apologies. I heard
How we doing?
Puppy shrieking from downstairs. Last night we had an accident with one of the puppies. The mama dog stepped on one of the puppies, and there was just some crazy screaming. So yeah, my apologies for that. It was definitely. I heard some screaming, and I'm like, "Oh my God, what happened?" But they're all okay. So, I tell you. I am just not getting enough sleep with all this. I get up in the middle of the night, feed them again, and walk, Mama, and I have not had more than 4 hours of sleep in a row for a little while. But that's okay. They're so adorable. So
great.
anyway, everything's okay, guys.
Okay.
Anyway, so I don't know where you were. You
Oh,
just
yeah,
need to
so
run this show. Enough of me.
So yeah, I guess I was saying, we've been doing Voyage Trekkers since 2011, and after our big half-hour episode, which we released last year, I would absolutely love to do more Voyage Trekkers, but also as a filmmaker, I also want to tell new stories as well. So it's something that I absolutely hope that I can return to and do more Voyage Trekkers. Like I would love, to do we did the first half-hour episode, but we planned out what would be an actual season if we did more half-hour episodes. But yeah, right now, actually, our big project, which is all kind of going on behind the scenes, is doing a micro-budget feature film. So of a different story. But definitely still a comedy, and with a lot of the same crew and cast, playing very different parts. It's a little more of a, an indie film that we want to try to get into film festivals.
Now, is everyone Phoenix based?
Most everyone. Some of our friends have moved to LA, some to San Francisco, but pretty much everyone that we collaborate is Phoenix based. But they will kind of travel down when we've got big projects, if we've got parts that are right for them. But yeah.
That English gent, one of our regulars, gave us a £5 sterling super chat and says, "Holy crap, that was amazing. Not gonna lie, I was expecting that to be cringeworthy, but I was laughing the entire time. I'm definitely a fan of Voyage Trekkers now." So thank you. And then we had another, and then Sci-Fi Nation, $2 super chat. Just Patreon to you and Trey, Alec, nothing but nerd love. Hey, Sci-Fi Nation, thank you. We got we have a really good group of regulars that come, every
That's
Friday
awesome.
night, and
that's great.
And then even whenever all my random live streaming that I've been doing lately, they seem to show up. I don't think any of the Axa family have a job. Herb Blumman says, Alec is a real father goose to those 13 puppies. I am. Make no mistake about it. I am devoted to those puppies until we have them for about week and a half. So a week from this coming Wednesday, they will go down to the veterinarian in Clayton County that is aligned with our rescue, the dog rescue that is taking them, and they'll be vaccinated and whatever they do, dewormed, vaccinated, everything, and then they'll be adopted out, and all of them, the mama dog and all 13 puppies. But they're Belgian Malinois, which is very, very desirable breed, so they should have no problem finding homes for them. So everyone here in the Axa family follows what's happening with the puppies, so that's why. All right, so the next thing I have from you is I've got the trailer for season 2. So let's watch that, and then you can give us your feedback.
Attention all crew, this is the captain. The Admiral will be arriving in a few hours, and I want everything to be perfect.
Very nice. Get all that blood out.
Places, everyone!
Attention!
I'm so sorry. Let me get you some chairs.
You see, we got our own robot. Say hello to the nice lady.
Was this where you forced the villagers to admit that their religion was totally fake?
Oh, I got magic! I got magic all day for you! You want some of this magic?
Why am I the only one on this ship that cares?
I care too much. That's my problem.
We shuttle cargo to space stations with like 6 guys on them. We go out there and we scan little clouds of gas nobody cares about.
So it's revenge.
Who are you exactly?
We need to win right now.
The time has come. Put an end to the story. of Captain Sunstrike.
Everyone hang on!
Evasive!
Do it!
The engines need 5 minutes to warm up.
Mother...
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think I gave you one of your Kickstarter or your Indiegogo or
Yeah, I think
or
so. I think it must have. Yeah, I think it was the one for the TV for the half-hour episode, the TV episode.
Oh, was okay. Yeah, I saw
think
someone
so.
around here. I probably have one of your Blu-rays or DVDs or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. All right. So season 2 is how long?
Season 2 is about an hour, approximately.
Okay. Good.
So.
Good. And then you have a half-hour episode.
Yes. So there's season 1 is about 45 minutes long, depending on what you do with the Choose Your Own Adventure. If you watch them all, it's a little longer. Season 2 is about an hour, and then we've got the half-hour episode, and then I guess all the anti-smoking PSAs probably end up being about 10 minutes. And then we've also got a radio play, a half-hour radio play on our website.
Really?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to do. That's definitely something that we might do more in the future, because it's a lot easier than building that effing bridge. It's like our bridge is nothing compared to like your bridge, but it just stripped like 5 years right out of my lifespan.
Why is that?
It was just because we were just borrowing the space. It was a permission. It's like we had this donor give us the space for a certain amount of time, but we didn't have a ton of. We had a lot of volunteers on day 1, and by the time that by day 10 we were down to like 2 volunteers.
Oh.
It just got tough because it was just a lot of hard work and manual labor building that bridge. And I also think that the gentleman who we were using the space with, he didn't realize what was all entailed. How long we were going to need to use the space, or at least just everything entailed. And so it was always kind of on the edge of a knife sometimes, whether or not we were going to still be able to use that space even if we hadn't finished. But it basically took about, I want to say 2 months to construct the bridge, and then it really was only like 4 days of shooting. So,
damn.
Yeah, what we did was that we shot listed every single bridge shot that we needed for the whole season, and so we cross-boarded it, and so we just specifically knew we needed all these shots,
right?
And then once we had that, we then shot out the other half of the series. Yeah, we instead of doing like one big shoot, we did kind of 2 days of shooting, then 3 days of shooting, and then the bridge stuff, and then we had a couple of like 3 days of shooting left over. So,
gotcha. So how did you meet Dave, your VFX supervisor?
So David Stipes. So I went to film school with his son Nathan Stipes at Scottsdale Community College. There's a number of at the time it was one of the better, the best film school in Arizona. They had and they're still great. I just haven't been there in a while. So yeah, it was just, and then also a lot, Adam Reaney, who plays Captain Sunstrike, I met him at film school, and our first project is called Until the End of Everything. It's a sort of a James Bond spoof. that we did. I think it's on squishystudios.com, but that was just a short film that we did. And then a number of other collaborators that we had on the web series, we met through film school. This is back in like 2007, 2009. And just by knowing Nathan Stipes, he introduced me to his dad, who was teaching at the Art Institute of Phoenix, teaching visual effects there. And he's been great ever since. He's a wonderful man, so giving with his time.
Awesome. Well, that's great. And what is he working on these days?
Well, he's more. He may still be teaching, but I think he's retired at this point.
Gotcha.
He's old school. He worked on Ice Pirates and Real Genius.
Oh yeah, wow.
He worked on the original V. So a lot of his work was doing visual effects photography, but eventually towards Deep Space Nine and Next Generation, he was a visual effects supervisor. So, but he was one of in terms of like what was his contributions, he was one of the people who really kind of pushed towards digital starships in terms of, and so it was kind of his work that led to the really dense, large battles that you would see like in Deep Space Nine, where it was just like the end of the Dominion War, where it's just so much going on. It was that kind of groundwork that he kind of helped pioneer.
Oh, okay, fascinating. Wow. Okay, very cool. Very cool. You have to introduce me. If maybe we can. He probably knows Adam Howard, our VFX supervisor. I'm sure he does, since they both worked on Star Trek together. Let's see. I'm going to read some of the comments.
Ice Pirates.
What? Someone said. I guess there are 7 dislikes on our channel here. Who the hell is disliking this? Jeez, there's some miserable fucks around in this world. I'm sorry.
Well, it is interesting because I think for the most part, Star Trek fans have a sense of humor, but unfortunately, there's some that don't. And it's weird. Again, like I was talking about, like actually making something that kind of goes outside your circle. You realize that, when we put out season 1, and we were getting, instead of hundreds of views, we were getting thousands of views. Suddenly we were getting dislikes, and like the first couple of dislikes like crushed me, because you weren't used to kind of having people dislike your work, and then like people putting like negative comments, and you realize that that's just part of being, a filmmaker or an artist, that you've got to be okay with not everyone liking what you do,
Yeah, the challenge we face, which we talk about, is, there we go. It's like, okay, Gene Roddenberry espoused certain principles in Star Trek, and if you're like a hater, you just don't get it. You're missing the point of Star Trek, right? Star Trek isn't about hate; it's about love, acceptance. IDIC. That's what it's about. So,
yeah,
there you go. I'm always amazed.
Yeah,
it's like, you don't get it, do you? Yeah. Why are you a Star Trek fan? Go be a Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars too.
Me too.
I like it all. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
By the way, what do you think of the new Star Wars movie?
I didn't love it, I have to be honest. And I've enjoyed some of the new Star Wars films for sure, but I don't know. I've only seen it once, and so I need to revisit it. But yeah, I was a little disappointed, I have to say.
Really?
So, yeah, I'm trying to put my finger on it, but so I personally liked The Last Jedi. I know that's controversial. Yeah, I'm a Rian Johnson fan. Have you seen Knives Out?
I have not. No, I saw the
it's a lot. It's a lot of fun.
Is it?
It's like those classic murder mysteries. But no, I thought I thought he put the characters in very challenging places, and I just didn't quite feel as much from Rise of the Skywalker. I guess my main issues with Rise of the Skywalker was that some of the issues that I had with The Force Awakens, and I enjoyed that one, were just kind of pushed a lot further in terms of like the weird like Sith holocron keys that they've got to find, and it felt just kind of video gamey and just like needing to knock out a one tower to make sure all the starships couldn't get out of orbit. Like it just felt it just didn't quite feel real enough for me, I guess.
Okay. What do you think of Force Awakens?
I enjoyed The Force Awakens. I would say no, I enjoyed it, and a lot of it was just the promise, and I thought they did a really good job of not only casting but kind of creating these unique characters to kind of continue the story. So, but I definitely will see Rise of the Skywalker again, and I look forward to kind of what that experience is going to be. But yeah, that was just my first time viewing. But
yeah, well, J.J. Abrams, I think for J.J., I think it was one of his better efforts because as we talk about here, both Star Trek 2009 and Force Awakens are just they're movies with huge plot holes, right? He's very good at tugging at all your heartstrings and giving you like what you want, the fan service you want. He's good at that. He did that in Star Trek 2009. He did that in Force Awakens, right? And visually, he's a fantastic visual storyteller. He knows how to frame the shit and give you the shots that blow you away. All great. But the challenge with JJ, I've always found, is that the stories just like don't make any sense, right? They just like, oh god.
Yeah.
And
what did you think of Into Darkness?
It sucked.
Yeah.
Into Darkness sucked. Again, visually it looks great, right? But but it just it just didn't make any sense. It's like, why would you be remaking The Wrath of Khan? That just really, you're setting yourself up for failure. There's just no reason to do that.
It would have been it would have been exciting if they had taken just the very smallest germ of Wrath of Khan or Space Seed and just taken a hard left, so there's not a comparison. Like keep Benedict Cumberbatch, make him one of the other people who's trying to revive Khan, and
make him Joaquin.
Yeah. Or some other guy that we didn't who died on the planet,
Yeah, there were so many ways to go, and that was not it. And it was, and again, I don't know, in the role reversal, Kirk dies, and so by the end of the movie, you're like, so magic tribble blood means no one will ever die, and this transporter now means that we don't need Starfleet because we'll just transport anywhere in the galaxy. So okay, so what the?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it. I guess
I don't feel bad. I'm not one of those people that just hates on movies. So I kind of feel bad when I don't like a movie because,
I feel like I've made a mistake. It's like,
I'm like,
did I watch the movie wrong?
And JJ was nice to me, during the lawsuit and everything. So I feel a loyalty to him as well. But that movie was really bad. And now Star Trek Beyond was pretty good. It was all right. I liked it, except for the motorcycle.
And then it's like I loved Super 8. Have you've seen Super 8, right? JJ.
Yeah,
I love that one.
His love letter to Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, that was great.
Knowing what it is what it is. It's you go, oh, that's all right. Well, that was cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was good. And and Force Awakens, as much as I hate that movie for all the stupid plot holes, I like the movie. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's
like
like
Force Awakens. It was fun. It was, and you can't argue $2 billion.
Yeah, it's like, so even if I have serious issues with like the Star Wars prequels, there's still a lot of fun Star Wars stuff in it, Like that love-hate relationship of just like, so I was a projectionist when The Phantom Menace came out. So I actually got to see it twice.
Wow.
Because we had to actually preview the film prints to make sure they got put together, that there weren't any issues. We had to literally tape the reels together and then just play them, so we make sure that they would all work for the midnight screening.
Yeah,
but
that job's not around anymore.
No. But I just remember, like, in the middle of the second time watching it, because the first time I was just kind of like, it's like sensory overload. But during the middle, like the pod race, the second time watching it, it's like, wait, can a Star Wars movie be bad? And yeah, it was just kind of shell shocked because the expectations were so high, for the Phantom Menace.
Yep. But that was, and I don't know. There are people smarter than me that know. I mean, it just seemed like by that point George was not listening to anyone, and
Yeah.
he didn't have those people who he would listen to that say, George, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Are you out of your fucking mind? That's bullshit, right? And you need those people around you,
Yeah.
And he didn't have them, and that's why.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like what was that Netflix documentary about Star Trek: The Next Generation, where Gene Roddenberry wanted, for Next Generation, wanted some very specific things, and not everyone agreed with him. The idea that like the crew members couldn't have conflict with each other. It was really tough for the writers. And yeah, it's tough when you reach such a success, and you just want to do your own thing, and you don't have someone to kind of like battered to test that vision, to kind of push you in a corner and have you kind of like defend your position, but also then to have a healthy amount of compromise and collaboration,
Yeah, I know, and the only thing I do like the last prequel, which is what, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Right. I love the whole duel scene between Anakin and Obi-Wan. I think that is really magnificent. I really like that. Yeah. So. Although I do have an issue with, Obi-Wan wouldn't have left him there. That's just, he would have killed him. He would just put him out of his misery, right? That bothered me. Other than that, and it was fun seeing Yoda fight Palpatine. That was a lot of fun. But the scene where Yoda walks in the room and just goes boom to the guards. It's like, get out of my way, bitch. No, but again, I think that's it. So, Rise of Skywalker, I always say, everyone knows here, everyone is going to get tired of me saying, but I always say that the problem with JJ's movies with Star Trek 2009 and then Force Awakens was, they're like this great sugar high when you're watching them. And you're like, oh, that was awesome. And the lights go on in the theater. And you're like, oh, that was so much fun. That was awesome. And you walk out of the theater. And by the time you get to your car, you're going, wait a second. That doesn't make any sense. Right? And so Crystal and I were walking out of the theater after watching Rise of Skywalker. And I'm like, well, actually, the lights go on in the theater. And I'm like, I go, what do you think? She goes, I like it. I go, I think I like it. Let's wait till I get to the car. Right? And I got to the car and I'm like, I still like it. I do. I think the challenge is there are things that JJ wants to see in a movie that he wants to see. You may not want to see him, but he wants to see him. Maybe he thinks it's good for the audience or good for the story. Or I think the challenge with JJ is he wants to do stuff just because it's cool. Well, wouldn't it be cool if the Enterprise came out of the water? Well, why the fuck would the Enterprise be in the water?
Yeah, it's a lot of his earlier work is very just like ADD, you know, not even just like the lens flares, but it's like rewatching like the Mission Impossible movie he did. It's so frenetic that I just got motion sick. You know, it's just so like long lens, handheld, and so everything is a little jittery and just it's kind of ADD in terms of like the light's always flashing. Like there's always got to be an intensity and like an interest level in his, especially in his earlier work, that is just all about making sure it feels alive. But sometimes it's distracting to actually like watching a person's face. You know?
Yeah, like the criticism, like. All the criticism of Rose not being, like, her role being so minimal. My take was, well, I didn't like her in the first place. I thought she was totally wedged into The Last Jedi. I just was like, okay, they're trying to create a part for her, and it did feel organic, and so, you know, everyone's like, oh, her scenes were cut in, you know, Rise of Skywalker or whatever. And I'm like, so the fuck what? She wasn't a great character in the first place, right? And how many characters do I have to pay attention to? I mean, why the fuck was Dominic Monaghan in Rise of Skywalker? What the fuck did he do? Right? He was worthless. His lines could have been given to Rose. We didn't need him in there. You know? I don't know. But I felt there was a lot to like in Rise of Skywalker, and I'm always glasses half full guy, and I just thought there was a lot to like. I'm like, so wait, there has to be, you can't take off unless you have a nav beacon. All right, and they redeemed that. Go ahead.
I was just watching like the end where they've got like just countless like Sith starships, and I was
Where
just
these
thinking,
come from?
Yeah, how do they feed everyone? Did they like commute to work, or did they live on the planet? You know, like just imagine like the logistical aspect of this planet.
That was my point. I was like, 10,000 starships require millions of crew.
Just the amount.
Where and where were they living, and how? That makes no sense to me.
Just the paperwork alone, people.
That was the only real issue for me in the movie, right? That was the only real issue, and I'm just gonna say, well, they didn't there's an explanation that they didn't give us. Okay,
but I guess it just felt just like a lot of these movies, they keep upping the ante to where it becomes so great that it's hard to kind of feel like it's a real thing, like it's got real stakes. Like it doesn't need to literally be real. Obviously, no Star Wars is literally real, but it has to feel like it exists in its own logic,
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I mean, that was like Starkiller Base in Force Awakens. It's like, oh, well, we had 2 Death Stars. The 3rd Death Star's got to be a planet. Well, that makes no freaking sense. 5. That makes beams. How does a beam break up? I don't know. That was nonsense, and that's what pissed me off. And you get to the point where, like J.J.'s movies, I think the problem is you go in when you love something like Star Trek, you go into the first Star Trek movie, right, in whatever 10 years or whatever it was, and you've got I call them your stack of gimmies. You got a little stack of gimmies. All right, I'll give you that. And you throw them at the screen every time. Oh, really? So Spock's on a planet where you can see Vulcan? All right, I'll give you that. Whatever. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Kirk runs into Spock of all the people in the galaxy on this planet. All right, I'll give you that one. But at some point you run out of gimmies, and you're like, really? He runs into Scotty too on the same planet. Right? It's like, and these are the issues, and I guess my feeling in Rise of Skywalker was there was only one real big gimme I had to give it. It was like there were a lot of little things that was like Dominic Monaghan, whatever, but I thought a lot of things were handled well. And I really do like Poe and Finn and Rey, and I felt she was a compelling character. But I guess getting back to Force Awakens was like First Order. Didn't we have a whole series of? Didn't we have 3 movies to get rid of the Galactic Empire, and now they're still around, and they're just called something else? That makes no sense to me. How about the rebellion? I don't know. It was like the rebellion should have been, we threw off the yoke of the Empire. The First Order should be like neck and neck with the rebellion. Instead, it's like
with the New Republic, yeah.
Right, and I just was like that. You're forcing it. Mm-hmm. I don't know what. What do you think about the death of Han Solo?
I thought it was handled well.
I did too.
I remember when watching it when it happened, and I felt like, well, if it had to happen, this is a good way to go because it was dramatic and it felt significant. So yeah, I could see how people are upset. Like, you don't literally need to see all characters die on screen. You kind of want to imagine them. Like, I never want to see Indiana Jones die.
Right.
Just imagine him going, it's like, because again, like, to respect the continuity, we've got him as like a 103-year-old man in Young Indiana Jones Adventures. But I mean, it had worth and significance to the whole saga. It's like Harrison Ford always wanted to kill Han Solo, but not because he hated him, because he didn't have anything to do in Return of the Jedi. Like, he wanted the person who didn't want to join, the scoundrel, the smuggler, to eventually go full circle and be the person who dies for the cause.
Right.
He wanted to have some actual, like, Shakespearean dramatic
that would be great
thing to do. And so I felt like that he had a significance to the story, his death. So no one wants to see Harrison Ford die. I mean, let's be honest. But
also, listen, I loved his appearance in Rise of Skywalker.
No, absolutely, I love that too.
That was a great scene.
Yeah,
that was a really great scene because, I mean, you've been pulling for him. Certainly in Last Jedi, you were pulling for him for Kylo Ren to embrace the light, right? And I just found that Han Solo was the one who was the catalyst.
Yeah.
So it really warmed my heart when I saw that scene. That was really great.
Yeah. Me too, and also just like in the meta level of meaning of, like, there's still that part in the back of your mind. It's like, well, does Harrison Ford really like playing Han Solo? There is that wonder of, like, him dying off. Did they kill him off because he wants to stop being in these movies?
I see, and I agree with your first assessment. That's not it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think anytime you've played a character a lot, you want to get on and do other things. But from everything that I've heard on The Force Awakens, like, he really enjoyed returning to Han Solo and having a new aspect to his character. They even were kind of like, well, do we really want to kill him off? I think it reminds me of, like, Leonard Nimoy with Wrath of Khan, to where it's like, oh crap, like, I'm actually enjoying this now. This is like, I feel like this is a good movie. Do we want to kill Spock off?
Yeah. Well, and I think that was it. I think through the last trilogy here, you had 3 new characters you had to bring to the fore and develop. And you had 3 old characters that you had to give fitting endings to.
Yeah. And it's tough when you've got to kind of resolve the narrative debt of like a previous trilogy.
Yeah, I can see it. And I think they did that well. I mean, it was really interesting. I felt in the third movie, JJ really made me like Finn and Rey. Those two, I was like, wow, Finn is really kicking ass in this movie. I mean, I really noticed that while I was in the movie theater. I was like, wow, Finn's really changed. They've really given him depth, right? And Rey was really compelling. I really so and then Poe was good. He was good too.
Yeah.
But I really liked the characters, those three in the third movie. Do I need them galloping on horses on a Star Destroyer? No. Right. The point I was going to make is the stupid tower that allows them to take off of the ground. I love the fact that the First Order was like, we don't need that. We'll just do it from our ship. I was like, oh, there you go. That's what happens in battle. Shit happens. Deal with that, bitches. And they did. But, it wasn't the most satisfying way to deal with it. It's like, we're going to gallop on horses. Yes, so we can't be picked up. But all right, whatever. All right, we got to wrap it up. Tell us about Voyage Trekkers. What because we have new people who came in towards the end.
Right.
We've got 2 seasons, a 30-minute episode.
Then a bunch of like special features. I mean, if you really want to go deeper into it, there's a bunch of material on the Voyage Trekkers website. There's a lot of behind the scenes videos of how we made it, and just kind of like the kind of the behind the scenes of like you can kind of see like how it was all put together. So
awesome! Listen, everyone, we are going to be hosting Voyage Trekkers on the Axanar YouTube channel. We're going to have a special playlist. Next week, we have a special watch party to watch the entire first season. And Trey and I will be hosting that. Nathan will get you in for that. Cool. And then watch Voyage Trekkers on the Axanar channel. I mean, we poor Nathan only has like 1,000 viewers, 1,000 subscribers on his channel. We're like, we want Voyage Trekkers to be everywhere. So we're going to promote the shit out of it and make sure people like it. And we'll have to do, I guess we need to do a Voyage Trekkers. We need to do a Remarkable a ship patch for the Remarkable. We need to do a patch and sell it. That'd be fun.
That'd be awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and then we need I need a model of that ship. It's so freaking cool.
Me too.
Right? Okay, we need a model. We're going to get someone to 3D print a model for us.
That'd be awesome.
All right, listen. I want to thank our guest, Nathan Blackwell, creator of Voyage Trekkers, for coming here on a Friday evening. Thank you so much. I want to thank, I really haven't had a chance to catch up on all the chat. I've been trying to watch it. Storm says, did we go a whole episode without you? No, and I've been drinking the entire time, Paul. Jeez. Oh, look, there's hardly any left. But I want to thank everyone. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you coming out and spending a Friday night with us, as always. We will be back. I'm sure I'll be live streaming sometime tomorrow, so stop by and say hi. B. Davis, I believe, is new. I may be confusing people, but B. Davis, we have another one, Olam Drab. I can never, I mean, people, we need simpler names. Thank you so much. For the new people, thank you for coming out. Make sure you come back. Fog Bank. Could a lightsaber deflect phaser fire? Sure, why not? It deflects laser fire. Why not phaser fire? I guess. I don't know. It's all fucking fancy, people. Make it up.
We'll ask Gandalf.
Hey, who's... Oh, yeah, exactly. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you guys
a happy
so much.
Friday night. Thanks to Nathan, our new partner in crime here. We look forward to more episodes with Nathan, and I can't wait to watch all of Voyage Trekkers beginning to end with you, our loyal Axanar super fans. Thank you so much. And,
thanks, guys.
Thanks, Nathan. We'll see everyone around the galaxy.
Cool.